The neon-lit corridors of Station Epsilon 7 hummed, with the usual cacophony of 1,000 species conducting their daily commerce. Bella Chen navigated through the crowd with practiced ease, her engineer's jumpsuit marked with the insignia of an independent freight hauler. She'd been running cargo between the outer colonies for 3 years now, and stations like this had become her second home. She was heading toward the docking bay when she noticed the commotion near the food dispensary. An elderly creature stood at the counter, its scales dulled with age, wings folded tight against a hunched back. The dragon, for that's clearly what it was, though diminished by time, was arguing with the Vendorian clerk. "I apologize." The dragon's voice was a low rumble, dignified despite the circumstances. "It seems my credit chip has been declined. Perhaps there's an error in your system." The clerk's tentacles waved dismissively. "No error, old-timer. Insufficient funds, step aside, you're holding up the line." Bella watched as the dragon carefully placed items back on the counter. Basic nutrition packs, water purification tablets, the essentials that kept any spacefarer alive. The creature's claws trembled slightly as it sorted through its meager purchases, deciding what it could live without. Something in Bella's chest tightened. She'd been there once, 3 months behind on her ship payments, counting every credit, wondering which meal to skip. A Martian dock worker had bought her dinner that night, asking nothing in return. "Pay it forward," he'd said. Bella stepped forward. "I'll cover it." The dragon turned, its ancient amber eyes meeting hers. For a moment, something flickered in those depths, surprise, perhaps, or recognition of something Bella couldn't name. "Young lady, I cannot accept." "It's already done," Bella said, tapping her credit chip against the reader. The transaction chimed approval. "We all need help sometimes." The dragon studied her for a long moment. Then it bowed, a gesture so formal and precise it seemed to belong to another age entirely. "Bella Chen of the vessel Shooting Star, your kindness will not be forgotten. I am Draconix, formerly of the Scorched Throne." "Nice to meet you, Draconix. Stay safe out there." Bella smiled and turned to leave, already mentally calculating whether she'd have enough credits for her own resupply. She thought nothing more of it. 12 hours later, Bella was elbow-deep in her ship's recalcitrant coolant system when her communications panel exploded with alerts. "What the?" She wiped her hands and stumbled to the cockpit, where her view screen was flashing urgent proximity warnings. Her blood ran cold. 15 warships had just dropped out of hyperspace, surrounding Station Epsilon 7 in a perfect three-dimensional formation. But these weren't just any warships. Bella recognized the configuration from her academy days, back when she dreamed of joining the Imperial Navy. These were Draconic Empire vessels, the legendary fleet that had vanished from known space over 2 centuries ago, withdrawing into the deep beyond after the Silence Wars. Each ship was a kilometer of gleaming obsidian and crimson hull, bristling with weapons that made modern battlecruisers look like children's toys. Their energy signatures were off the charts, their reactor cores burning with a technology humanity had never quite mastered. Station Control's voice crackled over every channel. "All vessels maintain position. Do not attempt to flee. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not." A new voice cut through, ancient and powerful, transmitted simultaneously to every device on the station. "We seek Bella Chen of the vessel Shooting Star. Produce her immediately or face the consequences." Bella's hands froze on her controls. Her mind raced. What had she done? Some regulation she'd violated, cargo she'd accidentally smuggled. She ran a clean operation, always had. Her communicator chimed. Station Control, their voice barely controlled panic. "Chen, what did you do? The Draconic Empire is here for you. Get obey command immediately." Bella's heart hammered as she sealed her ship and made her way through corridors now thick with fear. Other traders watched her pass with wide eyes. Security personnel followed at a distance, unsure whether to arrest her or protect her. Bay command was chaos. Admiral Voss, the station's military commander, stood before a holographic display showing the 15 warships in horrifying detail. He spun when Bella entered. "Chen, explain yourself. Why is the most powerful military force in the galaxy surrounding my station and demanding we produce one freight hauler?" "I don't know, sir. I swear I don't." Bella's mind raced back through the day. The cargo run had been routine. She'd filed all her paperwork. The only unusual thing had been the dragon, she whispered. "What?" "There was an old dragon at the food dispensary. I paid for his groceries." Admiral Voss stared at her like she'd lost her mind. "You paid for groceries, and now we're facing a potential intergalactic incident." Before Bella could respond, the communication panel lit up with an incoming transmission. The dragon's voice, the one demanding her presence, spoke again. "Bella Chen, we request the honor of your presence aboard our flagship, the Eternal Flame. You will not be harmed. You have our oath." The Admiral looked at Bella. "This is your choice, but understand, if you decline, I don't know what happens next. They could destroy this station. They could destroy this entire sector." Bella thought of the 1,400 souls aboard Epsilon 7. The families, the children. She thought of Leo, her co-pilot and best friend, currently planetside on leave, safely away from this madness. "I'll go," she said. The shuttle that retrieved her was a work of art, all flowing lines and precious metals, staffed by dragon warriors in ceremonial armor who treated her with bewildering reverence. The flight to the flagship took only minutes, but each second felt like an eternity. The Eternal Flame's landing bay was cathedral-like in its grandeur. Bella descended the shuttle ramp to find herself facing a formation of what had to be 1,000 dragons, all in full military regalia, all standing at attention. At their head stood Draconix. But this was not the diminished, elderly creature from the station. This dragon stood tall, scales gleaming like polished gemstones, wings spread in magnificent display. The years seemed to have fallen away, or perhaps, Bella realized with a chill, they had never been there at all. "Bella Chen," Draconix's voice resonated through the bay. "Do you know who I am?" "You said, Draconix of the Scorched Throne." "I am Draconix, the undying first emperor of the Draconic realm, commander of the eternal fleets, guardian of the deep beyond." He stepped forward, and despite his massive size, the movement was gentle. "For 217 years I have walked among the lesser species in disguise, searching." "Searching for what?" "For proof that the younger races had evolved beyond their nature. When we withdrew from known space, it was because we found them wanting, greedy, violent, short-sighted. We swore we would return only when one showed us true kindness, expecting nothing in return." Bella's breath caught. "The groceries." "You were the 17,000th being I tested. 17,000 interactions across 2 centuries and 17,000 failures. Beings who walked past, beings who mocked, beings who helped only when they recognized what I was, seeking reward or favor." Draconix lowered his massive head until his ancient eyes were level with hers. "You were the first who simply helped because it was right." "I don't understand, it was just groceries. Anyone would have." "But they didn't. For 217 years they didn't." The dragon's voice carried infinite sadness. "Your single act of uncalculated kindness has fulfilled the prophecy of return. The Draconic Empire will re-enter galactic society." Bella felt dizzy. "Because I bought you dinner. Because you reminded us that honor still exists in the universe. That compassion can live without calculation. That perhaps the younger races have grown enough to stand beside us as equals rather than subjects." Draconix straightened, addressing the assembled dragons. "Let it be known across all our worlds, the prophecy is fulfilled. The time of isolation has ended. We return to the stars not as conquerors but as partners, inspired by the humanity of Bella Chen. A roar erupted from 1,000 dragon throats, shaking the very hull of the massive warship. Bella stood frozen, trying to process the impossible. What happens now? Now, Draconix's expression was almost amused. Now, Bella Chen, you become the most famous human in the galaxy, the bridge between our peoples, the proof that your species deserves the stars they've claimed. I just wanted to help an old man buy groceries, Bella said weakly. And in doing so, you changed the fate of civilizations. Draconix gestured, and a dragon aide approached carrying a crystal containing swirling light. The Draconic Empire does not forget its debts. You will want for nothing. Your ship will be upgraded with our technology. Your people will benefit from our knowledge. And you, personally, have my eternal gratitude and the friendship of an empire. Bella thought of her small cargo hauler, her simple life, her friend Leo, who was going to absolutely lose his mind when she explained this. "Can I ask one thing?" she said. "Anything." "Those groceries you were buying, did you actually need them, or was that part of the test?" For the first time, Draconix laughed, a sound like distant thunder. "I needed them. Even emperors must eat, Bella Chen. Even emperors must eat." 3 weeks later, the news feeds were still exploding with the story. The Draconic Empire's return, the new age of cooperation, the treaties being drafted, the technology sharing agreements. And at the center of it all, one bewildered freight hauler who'd simply done what she thought was right. Bella sat in her newly retrofitted ship, now equipped with draconic hyperdrive technology and defensive systems that would make an admiral weep with envy, watching the news feeds with Leo. "So," Leo said, "you bought an emperor lunch, and now we're the most advanced independent hauler in human space." "Basically." "Bella." "Yeah." "Next time you see someone who needs help, maybe check if they're royalty first. My heart can't take another 15 warships showing up." Bella laughed, the sound light and genuine. Through her view screen, she could see the eternal flame holding position nearby, Draconix's personal guard, until she reached her next port. She'd learned something important. Kindness wasn't just its own reward. Sometimes, impossibly, it could change the universe. But she'd do it again anyway, emperor or not, because that's who she was. And in a galaxy that often forgot such simple truths, perhaps that mattered most of all.